Good afternoon, students. So, continuing yesterday's lesson, making of a global world, I think we saw the definition of globalization, and we also saw that globalization did exist in the pre-modern world. We have seen various examples like the Silk Road, foot travels, through trade, through conquest. Role of technology. What was the role of technology regarding regarding globalization in the pre-modern world? And migrant laborers. All these were evidences to prove that. All these are evidences to prove that there was globalization or trade of laborers, commodities, everything, even money, even in the form of loan, it existed within the pre-modern world. Today we are going to see about some of the Indian entrepreneurs. Some bankers like the Natukota Chettiars of Karaikudi. This particular group belong to Karaikudi. They are filthy rich and they have financed to export agricultural goods. They have financed Central Asia and South Asia. Financing to take these export items to Central Asia and South Asia. And they have also followed the Europeans to Africa by financing them with goods. There were other groups, that is families, that belong to the Shroff family, then you have the Seth of Gujarat, etc. This Natukota Chettiars, I'll just in detail today, I'll just tell you about this particular group, because they belong to India, and those days they have acted as bankers, not normal bankers, even financing foreign countries, traders coming from foreign countries. So what happened? Because of the finance or the financial support given by these Indian entrepreneurs, Britain enjoyed a favorable balance of trade. What do you mean by favorable balance of trade? When the exports are more than the imports, you call it as favorable balance of trade. And when the imports are more than the exports, you call it as unfavorable balance of trade. I think this we have learned, you will be learning in geography under lifelines of national economy. As a result of this, the British becoming more wealthier, they earned a lot out of the exports, and their imports started declining. So how did it affect India? The Indian handicrafts, it was destroyed. The British exports increased, as I told you. So this was the way Indian entrepreneurs, this was how the Indian entrepreneurs played an important role in globalization during the pre-modern century. What was their role and how did they help the foreign countries? Now we are going to see about the interwar economy. What is this interwar economy? 1914 to 1919, we have learned in 9th standard in the chapter Nazis and Rise of Nazism and Hitler. The First World War was fought between 1914 to 1919. So during the war period, the industries were restructured. So what do you mean by industries were restructured? From the normal goods they produce, the industries were diverted to produce war-related products like weapons, arms and ammunition, dresses for the soldiers. So this was what you mean by war-related goods. After the war came to an end, again you remember the Allied powers, the Axis powers. I am not going to the detail of it. Anyway, the Allied powers were Britain, France, and USA, and the Axis powers were Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey. So, with the defeat of Germany in the First World War, how did it affect the economy after the First World War? So, post-war recovery, if you see it was the first industrial war in the world. The First World War was called as the first industrial war at the global level. When even if it is an internal, you call it as a civil war itself, it incurs heavy losses, men, money, materials. Then the losses that would have occurred after the First World War is unprecedented, and that is why Germany was held responsible for the First World War, and she was forced to sign a treaty called the Treaty of Versailles. She was solely branded as the aggressor or the country responsible for the First World War, and she was imposed a heavy war indemnity. Indemnity is war compensation. You know, it goes the pounds and 165 followed by so many zeros. That was the amount she had to pay as a war compensation. So every country had gone down, their economy had gone down to a large extent or to a great extent. So how was the post-war recovery? Could they recover from this economic decline? We are going to see. So after the war, production reduced and unemployment increased. See, how will production reduce? Then during the war times, everything was halted. There was no means of flow of capital was halted. So production it reduced. When there is no production, obviously they will not engage so many employees. So what happened? There was large scale unemployment. Slowly, what happened? Production, once the war was over, slowly the production started increasing, but unemployment continued. How? Because these industrialists, as a result, they had machines were there, so they were making use of the machines and cutting down the number of employees they had to involve. So production increased because of the modern technology, but there was unemployment, large scale unemployment. But USA did not suffer much during this, that is during the First World War. Her immediate recovery was quick, though she did not, not that she did not suffer, not that her economy did not decline, but she could recover quickly. Now, automatically the question will arise, when all the other nations they were reeling under the impact of First World War, how was it that only USA could recover at a faster rate? Here, the US government, Henry Ford, he adopted the assembly line method of production. What is this assembly line method? See, in the automobile industry, what Ford did was, he made the automobile, industrialists, adopt this method where the workers were asked to assemble and reassemble the parts, whichever could be moved from, you can remove it and then you can fix it, remove it and fix it. Those parts, he made them do it repeatedly so that they would become experts in that particular assembly, any part for that matter. Initially, it was very difficult for the workers because they were asked to work at a very high, that is the pace in which they had to work. They were not able to cope with the health conditions. Their health conditions started deteriorating and they were developing some sort of illness because they were not even given the time, that is breathing space, you say, allow us to relax. Even that relaxation was not given to them. So what happened? There was resentment. The workers were they were not willing to continue with this method. Immediately what Ford did was, he increased their salary. A very good hike was given to them in their payment. That was a boost for the employees. Because Ford realized that unless their cooperation was there, he could not produce more, and for their cooperation, for the amount of work they did, he had to compensate it by giving them a very good hike in their wages. So this came it was a boost for them. It served as a booster. And now what happened? The production not doubled, tripled than before, and thus they were able to recover from their decline in economy. This method, slowly, it started spreading to other parts of Europe also. But mass production was there. As I told you, in general, people could not buy because there was unemployment. So what they did, they lowered the prices so that it could be affordable. So it lowered the cost of and prices of the engineered goods. In 1929, the next important event, which was a part of this of an impact of globalization, or whatever you call it as, the Great Economic Depression occurred in the world. It not only started in Europe, it spread to every country was affected in some way or the other. What do you mean by this depression? Economic depression. A complete slowdown in economy, in the development of economy. Because they had to allot the amount of loss that had incurred after the First World War. Not only finance, men, money, materials, lockdown, all these things had incurred terrible loss. So there was unemployment, no production, everything halted, and it took years for countries to recover from the economic depression. Now, as a result of the economic depression, markets crashed in 1929. It led to, and even America, the biggest share market in the world, in New York, it fell like a house of cards. Millions of bankers, that is employees, became jobless. A number of banks were closed, thousands of banks were closed, completely closed. Some were shut, some of the industries or some of the factories were shut down. All these 4,000 banks were closed, and thus 10,000 companies destroyed, not simply closed, collapsed. So this became a major event for the one of the major causes for the Second World War. We are not going to deal about Second World War at all. So how did it affect India? Imports and exports in India also declined extensively to a great extent, especially Bengal, which was a great producer of jute. The jute cultivators, there was a lot of demand for jute. The jute cultivators suffered the most. Migration from villages to cities started increasing because there was no cultivation. So migration of laborers, peasants, they moved in search of job to towns and cities. So what happened? Only the slums, the population in the slums increased, in the cities increased. It became overcrowded with no job. So people They could see people with poverty and hunger stricken. Within a gap of now, after that, post-war era, that is after the Second World War, within a gap of 10 years, exactly 1939, after the outbreak of the economic depression, in 1939 the Second World War broke out. It was for a period of 5 years, 1939 to 1945. Once again, unimaginable. That is a war they could, within 20 years, again another global war where the entire world was involved except one or two countries. It led to massive destruction. And after that, two countries emerged as the most powerful, that was USA and USSR. Now, to recoup from this situation, it was decided by the world so-called developed nations that they would form two institutions called the Bretton Woods Institution or the Twins Institution. It was named as the World Bank and the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Bretton Woods and this World Bank is otherwise called as the IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. What were the aims of this Bretton Woods Institution? One, to ensure stable economy and a framework for ensuring a stable economy. They had to chalk out a strategy or frame out strategy. They had to chalk out a program, a strategy. It should be programmed. So that was the first aim, to ensure a stable economy at a global. Two, so to bring it into vogue or to implement this, financial conference was held. It was held at New Hampshire in USA, where two institutions, namely International Monetary Fund and World Bank, were established. What were the objectives of the Bretton Woods Institution? To finance post-war construction. So whatever constructions had to take place in the field of economy, in restarting for the development of an economy of a nation, these two institutions had decided to finance. Two, in 1947, both the institutions started functioning, and it was based on, the functioning was based on a fixed exchange rate. Now what do you mean by fixed exchange rate? For that you should have a standard currency. So all national currencies were pegged to the US dollar at a fixed rate. Now let me give you for example. Now suppose you are buying something. You go to any country. US dollar is fixed as that is for exchange rate. So you say it costs $10. Say if it is today, we don't know, now everything has come down, US currency, dollar, everything. I'm just giving you an example. Suppose it is 60 or 70 rupees per dollar. If it is $10, it will be 700 rupees. Can you follow? $10 means it is not 10 rupees. So they say $10. So $10 for $1, it is, in terms of rupee, you call it as, it is 70. So for 10, 7. So every national currency was pegged to the US dollar at a fixed rate. I think now you got it. And all decisions, how to that is, what are the steps to be taken, how much of finance should be given, everything was decided by the so-called Western industrial nations and largely the US. So now last part of the chapter, decolonization and independence. While many Asian and African nations became independent during this period with the support of UNO and NAM. What happened? A group was formed called the G77, or Group of 77 countries organized by the developing nations. So it was formed based on the new International Economic Order, NIEO. What is this NIEO? What I told you? It is the new International Economic Order. So what were the aims of this NIEO? One, to give these countries their control, the actual control these countries have over their own natural resources and materials, which means no country had the right to come to the member nations, to the countries of G77 and exploit the natural resources or any material for that matter. Whatever was within their political boundaries, it would belong only to the member nations. During this time, as a result of all this globalization, forming of what you call as the Bretton Woods Institution, so many things, it resulted in the formation of MNC, multinational company, in several countries during the 1950 and 1960. Today also, they are being operated. Today MNCs are supposed to give maximum employment. It has increased employment opportunities. But what is the condition of all these, what you call as today? Globalization did start during the pre-modern century. Today, what is the condition? How are we facing a similar situation or a worse situation? The chapter is over. I am going to connect it with today, the corona and COVID-19 and the global, what you call as economy. It is a discussion. I will be giving you some points. It is definitely connected with the chapter, but not. I am going a little more out of the chapter, but you have to know it as a part of your chapter. It's a lot of information which you will be getting. So, I would like to remind you again and again, we don't know what is going to be the situation. It is becoming grimmer and grimmer. Nothing is not in store for us. What is in store for us, only God alone knows. Whether chapters will be deleted or syllabus will be diluted, all these things will be known only subsequently. Whatever it is, even don't think that only till April 30th I will be taking. Anyway, since it is in YouTube, whether you are in station or out of station, I don't think movement of public will be allowed even after. If at all lockdown rules are going to be relaxed, definitely not public movement. No, what you call as no theatres, no malls, nothing. So you'll all be at home only. Since whether you are at home or outside, 99% or 90%, I'll be taking classes and putting it in the YouTube. Maybe fourth, the writing part, I am just telling you what to do, how you have to do. So, in case some dilution is there, whatever we have taught, if it is deleted or if it is not there, well and good. Otherwise also we are not going to lose nor gain. And all the question answers, because I think making you mark the question answers sometimes, if it is difficult, whatever is in the blog, I'll keep telling you what you have to do. Now, if this is, when this lesson is over, the first lesson, nationalism in Europe, you have an assignment in that, marking the countries of Western Europe. I'll tell you the countries. I think I did tell you the countries. Anyway, if not, you have to, the two allegories, I think I told you, you have to get the pictures of Marianne and Germania, write about them with a picture. And West Europe, the countries, I'll tell you tomorrow what you have to mark in the map. After that, you will be doing power sharing, which already I have dealt with. The same, the blog, if you go, those points, what is there, you divide it into headings, whatever headings are given. Half of it you write in the classwork, half of it in the homework. Assignment for that, I'll tell you what you have to do. That is second. And I think assignment, don't do it now. I'll do it now. You're supposed to do it in a separate note called portfolio. So I'll give you the same thing, whatever assignment I'm giving, you will do it in the form of portfolio. I'll tell you what you have to do. Then comes resources and development. Then you have the first chapter, development. So tomorrow we'll wind up this lesson, and in between, see, we can only take a horse to the pond. We cannot make it drink water. So dear parents, with all limited resources, I think I'm doing best, that is beyond my capacity. I request all of you to monitor what your students, your children are doing, and let them view the lesson, what is being taught, only in your presence. Please use it when you are, please, because in the name of watching YouTube, we don't know what they will watch. If you are able to monitor, you can keep them under your control, and this is the best time for you to understand your child and make them understand. If they are viewing certain things, I mean YouTube, they are simply going to so many other programs, whatever, you can check it. So I repeat, and if there are students who have joined the group with their personal mobile number, to them also it is a request, a humble request, and I instruct all the parents to keep a watch when the children are watching the video recorded classes. When they are doing it, and children, you also please get your parents' permission and tell them that you want to listen to or write, you will do it in front of them. I don't want you to get spoiled, because this is the only method now to impart whatever we could, and that should not be used as an excuse to get spoiled, since you are getting so much of written work, I think, from different teachers. So parents, you have a fixed time for the subject, because most of the days when I take class by 4 o'clock it is, or maybe a little, not later than 5, definitely. You can either view it in the morning or next day, but try to view it the same day. At least it's hardly half an hour. I don't take class more than that. And when you want to take down the points, or when you're doing your classwork homework, either you can, that WhatsApp itself, if it is possible, try to put it in your system. And I don't know if there is a technology for that. If you're able to put it in your system, either send it to your mail, that is best. From the WhatsApp, send it to your mail so that you can easily copy it. You need not view it through this mobile. It's too small a screen. Do not spoil your eyesight. And by the time school reopens, I don't want you all to come with your spectacles, because it's not just my subject, it includes all the other 5 subjects as well. So with all sincere concern, I have given you certain instructions, and I expect 100% cooperation from both the students and the parents. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. So,